The enormous space station hung in the void between stars, its crystal walls pulsing with soft blue light. Inside the great meeting hall, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table that could have held a small city. Today they would decide the fate of humanity. Ambassador Veltar stood up, his tall gray body swaying slightly as he moved. The Zephyrian's large black eyes never blinked as he spoke in his mechanical voice. "We are here to discuss the humans of Earth. They want to join our federation." A low rumble came from the collective's representative. The creature looked like a mass of black insects that had formed into the shape of a person. When it spoke, thousands of tiny voices whispered, together. "We have studied their history. It is filled with violence." Elder Nyx floated above her chair, her body made of pure energy crackling with silver light. She was older than most planets, and her voice sounded like distant thunder. "Show us what you have learned." Veltar waved his three-fingered hand, and images appeared in the air above the table. The aliens watched as human history unfolded before them. Wars, battles, explosions, destruction. Cities burning, people fighting with sticks, swords, guns, and bombs. In just the last century, they fought 2 massive wars. Veltar explained. Millions died. They created weapons that could destroy entire cities. They have never known true peace. The insect creature shifted nervously. They make weapons out of everything. They turned peaceful atoms into bombs. They launched metal spears into space. Even their sports are forms of combat. New voice spoke from across the table. Ambassador Kex looked like a giant blue octopus with golden eyes. Their planet has over 200 different countries. Most of them have armies. They cannot even unite their own world. Elder Nyx pulsed brighter. "We have kept peace in this galaxy for 1,000 years. No wars, no violence. Every problem solved through discussion and logic. These humans could destroy everything we have built." "But they are intelligent," said another voice. Dr. Rin was small and furry, like a walking carpet with tiny hands. "They have made great discoveries. Their art and music are beautiful. Their science is advancing quickly." Veltar nodded. "Yes, they are clever. That makes them more dangerous. Look at this." The images changed to show human inventions. They went from simple flight to space travel in 60 years. Most species take 500 years to make that jump. They solve problems by fighting them, the collective whispered. When they face obstacles, they do not think or plan. They attack. This is not civilized behavior. Elder Nyx spoke again, her voice filling the hall. "I have lived through the great wars of ancient times. I have seen what happens when violent species join peaceful ones. The violence spreads like a disease. It consumes everything." The debate continued for hours. Some argued that humans could learn to be peaceful. Others believed they were too dangerous to trust. The evidence was clear. Humans fought constantly. They had weapons everywhere. They even fought for entertainment. "Look at their sports," said Kex, showing new images. "They hit each other with their hands. They crash into each other at high speeds. They call this fun." "Their children play war games," added Dr. Rin sadly. "They pretend to shoot each other. This is not normal." Veltar brought up more data. "In their entire recorded history, there have been only 300 years of complete peace, and never more than 30 years at one time. The moment they finish one war, they start preparing for the next." The collective made a sound like wind through leaves. "We have children species in our care, the gentle ones of Proxima, the peaceful builders of Vega. If humans join us, what happens to them? Will humans teach them violence too?" Elder Nyx dimmed her light, thinking deeply. "The question is not whether humans deserve to join us. The question is whether we can survive them joining us. But we cannot leave them alone either," Dr. Rin pointed out. "They are developing faster than any species we have seen. In 50 years, they will have weapons we cannot imagine. In 100 years, they might threaten us anyway." The hall fell silent. Everyone understood the problem. Humans were too dangerous to join, but too dangerous to ignore. Finally, Elder Nyx spoke. "I propose a solution. We invite them to join. The Federation. We give them all the benefits, protection, technology, trade, colonies. But we set one absolute rule. What rule? Asked Veltar. They cannot fight. Ever. No military service, no weapons development, no wars. We protect them from all threats, and in return, they give up all violence. Complete peace in exchange for complete safety. The collective rustled with interest. And if they refuse? Then they stay alone until they destroy themselves or become civilized. And if they accept but break the rule later? Elder Nix's light flared brighter. Then we remove them from the Federation completely. They go back to their solar system and stay there forever. The vote was taken. 12 species, 12 votes. The decision was unanimous. The message was prepared and sent to Earth at light speed. It would take 4 years to reach them, but the decision was final. Humanity could join the galaxy, but only if they promised never to fight again. As the aliens left the station, none of them noticed Elder Nix updating humanity's file in the Great Database. In large red letters, she wrote a warning for future generations. Never let humans fight. The die was cast. Now they would wait to see if humanity would accept their offer of peaceful slavery. 50 years had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Federation. Commander Lee Hyun stood at the large window of New Seoul Station, watching alien patrol ships move slowly through space. Their movements were perfect and calculated, like a dance performed by machines. "Sir, we have another problem," said Lieutenant Park Min as she walked into the command room. Her voice was tight with anger she was trying to hide. Hyun turned around. "What happened this time?" "Pirates hit the cargo ship Busan Dreams 3 hours ago. 17 crew members are dead. The Federation patrol ships just arrived at the scene." Hyun closed his eyes and took a deep breath. 3 hours too late, again. What did the Federation say about it? They will file a formal complaint with the Pirate Council. They expect a response within 6 months. 6 months, Hyun repeated quietly. In the old days, before the Federation, pirates would not dare attack human ships twice. They knew humans would hunt them down and make them pay. Now pirates attacked human cargo ships every week because they knew humans could not fight back. Park Min looked out the window at the alien ships. "The Zephyrian commander says their response time was acceptable according to Federation standards. He does not understand why we are upset." "Of course he does not understand," Hyun said. "They think with computers. Everything is numbers and calculations to them. They do not understand that people died while they were calculating the best route to take." Dr. Kim Sora entered the room carrying a data pad. She looked worried about something. "Commander, I need to show you something from our long-range sensors." She activated the large screen on the wall. Strange readings appeared, showing massive energy signatures at the edge of known space. These readings started appearing 3 weeks ago. The signals are huge, bigger than anything in Federation records. Hyun studied the screen. "How big are we talking about?" "Each signature is the size of a small moon, and there are thousands of them. They are moving toward inhabited space." Park Min leaned forward. "Moving how fast?" "At current speed, they will reach the outer colonies in 18 months. Hyun felt a cold feeling in his stomach. "Have you reported this to the Federation?" Sora nodded. "I sent the data to Federation intelligence 5 times. They keep sending the same response. Their computers say no threat could cross the galaxy in less than 50 years. They think our sensors are broken." "What about the collective? They have the best long-range detection systems. They say the readings are statistically insignificant. Not worth investigating." Hyun walked back to the window. Below the station, human cargo ships waited in long lines for Federation escorts. Most were carrying food and medicine to human colonies. All were helpless if attacked. "Sir," Park Min said quietly, "I have been talking to other human commanders. We all feel the same way. We are tired of watching our people die while the Federation takes its time to help. Be careful what you say, Lieutenant. The Federation monitors all communications." "I know, sir. But people are starting to ask questions. Why did we give up our right to defend ourselves? Why do we trust aliens to protect us when they clearly do not care if we live or die? Sora looked at her data pad again. There is something else. I have been analyzing the energy signatures from the edge of space. The patterns do not match any known Federation technology. What do you mean? I mean, these signals are not from any species we know. This is something completely new. And based on the size and movement patterns, I think it might be a fleet. Hyun was quiet for a long moment. A fleet of unknown ships moving toward Federation space. The Federation refused to investigate. Human colonies were defenseless. Everything depended on alien protectors who moved too slowly and cared too little. Sora, I want you to keep monitoring those signals. Do not report anything else to the Federation until I say so. Yes, sir. Park Min, I want you to send a message to Commander Kang on Jupiter Station. Use the old military codes. Tell him we need to talk. Park Min looked surprised. Sir, those codes were banned 50 years ago. I know, use them anyway. That night Hyun sat alone in his quarters looking at old photos on his wall. Pictures of his grandfather in military uniform, his father working on a warship, his brother, who died in the last war before the Federation arrived. His family had been soldiers for generations. They fought to protect people who could not protect themselves. They died so others could live in safety. Now Hyun commanded a space station, but could not fight to save a single cargo ship. He opened his personal computer and began typing a message. The message would go to old friends, former military officers who now worked civilian jobs across human space. The message was simple. Be ready. The Federation had given humanity peace and safety in exchange for their ability to fight. For 50 years this deal had worked. Humans built colonies, made scientific discoveries, and created beautiful art. They had everything except the right to defend themselves. But something was coming from the dark between stars. Something the Federation did not want to see. And when it arrived, Hyun suspected that all the peace in the galaxy would not be enough to stop it. He finished typing his message and sent it through hidden channels the Federation did not know about. Old soldiers across human space would read it and understand. The time for complete peace might be ending soon. Outside his window, alien patrol ships continued their slow, perfect dance through space, protecting humanity from everything except the one threat that mattered most. The alarm screamed through the command center of Deep Space Station Alpha. Admiral Kang Ji-woo ran to the main screen, still pulling on his uniform jacket. What he saw made his blood turn cold. The Kepler colony system was gone. Not destroyed, completely gone. Where 17 million people had lived just 6 hours ago, there was now empty space and floating debris. Report, Kang shouted over the noise. Captain Cho Soo-jin worked frantically at her control station. Long-range sensors show massive fleet movement. Unknown ships, thousands of them. They are heading for the Vega system. What happened to Kepler colony? We do not know, sir. The planet just disappeared. Our sensors show it was completely stripped of all matter. Rock, metal, water, air. Everything is gone. Kang stared at the screen. An entire world had been consumed like food. Get me a connection to Federation. Command. The communication screen flickered to life, showing Ambassador Veltar's gray face. Admiral Kang, we are aware of the situation. Our analysis indicates a natural phenomenon, possibly a black hole. A black hole that moves in a straight line toward inhabited worlds? Kang asked. Sir, this is clearly an attack by unknown forces. Impossible. Our computers show no species capable of such destruction. You humans always assume the worst. We will send a science team to investigate. The connection ended. Kang wanted to throw something at the wall, but another alarm started screaming. Sir, incoming message from Vega system, Cho Soo-jin called out. The Zephyrian 4th Fleet is engaging unknown hostiles. The main screen changed to show a battle, unlike anything Kang had ever seen. Thousands of crude, ugly ships swarmed around the elegant Zephyrian vessels like angry insects. The alien ships were not beautiful or advanced. They looked like flying scrap metal held together with weapons. The Zephyrian ships are falling back. reported Lieutenant Kim Dae-ho from the sensor station. They are trying to maintain formation, but the enemy has too many ships. Kang watched the Zephyrian commander attempt perfect military tactics. Each move was calculated and precise. But the enemy did not follow any rules. They crashed their own ships into Zephyrian vessels. They used suicide attacks. They fought like wild animals with nothing to lose. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian flagship. The screen showed Commander Lextar, his usually calm face twisted with fear. Unknown enemy forces are using tactics outside all known parameters. They show no concern for their own losses. We cannot predict their movements, requesting immediate reinforcement. Then the transmission cut to static. The Zephyrian flagship was gone. Get me the collective's hive ships, Kang ordered. Captain Cho Soo-jin shook her head. Sir, the collective ship stopped responding 3 hours ago. Their last message was just screaming. The hive ships had been designed to work as one giant mind, thousands of vessels moving with perfect coordination. But these new enemies had somehow broken that connection. The collective's greatest strength had become their weakness. Over the next 6 hours, 7 more star systems went dark. The pattern was always the same. The unknown enemy would arrive with overwhelming numbers, consume everything in the system, then move on to the next target. Dr. Park Yoon-soo burst into the command center carrying data pads. Admiral, I have been analyzing the enemy ships. I know what they are. Tell me. They are called Devourers. I found references in some very old Federation files. They appeared at the edge of the galaxy 5,000 years ago, destroyed 12 systems, then disappeared. The Federation thought they were extinct. What do they want? Everything. They consume entire planets for resources. They do not negotiate or trade. They just eat everything and move on. They are like a plague of space locusts. Kang felt sick. How do we stop them? The old files say they cannot be stopped, only survived. They eventually run out of easy targets and move on to hunt somewhere else. The communication system activated, showing the emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. Elder Nix's energy form flickered with panic. We are facing an unprecedented crisis. Our military forces are failing against this new threat. Ambassador Veltar's voice was shaking. Our tactical computers cannot predict their behavior. They do not follow logical warfare patterns. They seem to enjoy destruction for its own sake. We need new strategies, said Dr. Rin. Something these Devourers have never faced before. Several council members looked uncomfortable. Finally, Ambassador Keck spoke the words everyone was thinking. Perhaps we should ask the humans for help. Their military experience might be useful. The chamber fell silent. Elder Nix's light dimmed. Absolutely not. We warned ourselves 50 years ago. Never let humans fight. Their violence would be worse than the Devourers themselves. But Elder, Dr. Rin said quietly, our current methods are not working. Perhaps controlled human involvement. No! Elder Nix's voice boomed. If we allow human violence back into our galaxy, it will spread everywhere. The cure would be worse than the disease. We will find another way. The meeting ended with no decisions made. The Federation's leaders were paralyzed by their own rules and fears. Back on Deep Space Station Alpha, Admiral Kang received private messages from desperate Federation commanders. They were losing battles across the galaxy, but they were forbidden to ask for human help. Kang looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere in that darkness, an unstoppable enemy was consuming world after world. The Federation had spent 50 years keeping humanity peaceful. Now, when they needed warriors most, they had only philosophers and scientists. The irony was not lost on him. The galaxy's protectors had forgotten how to fight, just when fighting was the only thing that mattered. The emergency klaxon wailed across Luna Base as Colonel Yoon Da-un watched the tactical display with growing horror. The Devourer Vanguard had broken through the outer defense line and was now only 6 hours from Earth. Millions of human civilians were about to die, and the Federation fleet was nowhere to be seen. Ma'am, we just lost contact with Mars Colony, reported Sergeant Kim Tae-ho, his voice shaking. The entire planet went dark 15 minutes ago. Dayun stared at the screen showing empty space where Mars used to be. 400,000 people had lived there. Now there was nothing but cosmic dust and debris. Colonel, incoming transmission. From Federation Command, called Lieutenant Lee Suman from the communications station. The screen flickered to show Elder Nix's energy form, dimmer than usual. Colonel Yoon, you must evacuate Earth immediately. We are sending transport ships to move your population to safe worlds deeper in Federation space. With respect, Elder Nix, there is no time for evacuation. The Devourers will be here in 6 hours. Then you must accept that some losses are inevitable. We cannot allow humans to break the peace accords by fighting even now. Da-Yoon felt something snap inside her mind. So we should just sit here and die? It is better than unleashing human violence upon the galaxy again. We warned ourselves, long ago. Never let humans fight. The transmission ended. Da-Eun stood in silence for a moment, thinking about her daughter in New Tokyo, her parents in the lunar cities, the billions of innocent people about to be consumed by an enemy that showed no mercy. She walked to her personal safe and pulled out a small device that had been hidden there for 50 years. A red emergency transmitter that every human military officer had kept secret from the Federation. "Colonel, what are you doing?" asked Sergeant Kim. "Something we should have done years ago." She activated the device and spoke into it. "This is Protocol 7. All units, Protocol 7. The gloves are off. Across human space, similar devices activated in hidden bunkers, forgotten storage facilities, and the personal quarters of former military officers. Messages spread through secret networks that the Federation had never discovered. Within 30 minutes, the first mothballed warship powered up in the asteroid belt. The UES Incheon had been hidden in a hollowed asteroid for 5 decades, maintained by civilian engineers who pretended to be miners. Captain Lee Jae-ho climbed into the command chair he had not sat in for 50 years. "All systems online, sir," reported his crew, former military personnel who had volunteered to die with their ship if necessary. "Take us to Earth. Maximum speed." More ships appeared from their hiding places. Cargo vessels suddenly sprouted weapon systems that had been disguised as mining equipment. Civilian transport ships opened hidden compartments containing fighter craft. Even luxury passenger liners revealed themselves to be converted destroyers. Taikiti. Federation had spent 50 years thinking they had disarmed humanity. They had no idea that humans had simply hidden their weapons better. Captain Park Min-ho led a squadron of fighters toward the first Devourer ships entering Earth's solar system. His plan was simple and brutal. Ram the enemy flagship with a ship full of antimatter while his crew escaped in escape pods. "Sir, this is insane," his co-pilot said. "We will definitely die." "Maybe. But if we do not try, everyone dies." The small human fighter screamed toward the massive Devourer mothership. The aliens had never seen anything like it. A tiny vessel, attacking something 1,000 times larger with no hope of survival. At the last second, Park Min-ho and his crew ejected. Their fighter, loaded with stolen antimatter, punched through the mothership's hull and exploded inside. The entire ship broke apart, taking 50,000 Devourers with it. The other Devourer ships slowed, confused. This was not how prey was supposed to behave. Commander Choi Young-sik took advantage of their confusion. His converted cargo hauler, the Busan Warrior, fired everything it had at a Devourer cruiser. When his weapons ran out, he used the cargo holds. "Launch the mining charges," he ordered. Hundreds of industrial explosives shot out like missiles. The Devourers had never seen weapons like these. Crude, improvised, but devastatingly effective. At Titan Station, Lieutenant Kim So-ra turned the entire facility into a weapon. "Overload the fusion reactors and aim the whole station at their fleet," she told her crew. "Ma'am, that will destroy us too. Then we better evacuate fast." The space station, moving like a giant missile, crashed into the center of the Devourer formation. The explosion was visible from Earth. All across the solar system, humans did what they did best. They adapted, improvised, and fought with everything they had. Mining ships became bombers. Construction robots became soldiers. Even civilian teenagers grabbed hunting rifles and prepared to fight. The Federation observers watched in horror and amazement. Where their precise logical tactics had failed, human chaos was working. The Devourers, who had consumed dozens of worlds, were being pushed back by an enemy that refused to follow any rules. "They are using their own people as weapons," whispered Ambassador Veltar. "They are turning everything into weapons," added the collective's speaker. Admiral Kang Ji-woo, watching from his command ship, felt pride and terror in equal measure. Humanity had been peaceful for 50 years, but in one day they had remembered how to be the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The Devourers were learning what the Federation had forgotten. Humans were not just intelligent or creative. When cornered, they were absolutely terrifying. 3 months after the last Devourer ship fled into deep space, General Choi Young-hee stood before the reconvened Galactic Council. Her uniform was torn and scorched from personal combat, and a bandage covered half her face. The aliens in the Great Hall could not look directly at her. The war was over, but everything had changed. Elder Nyx floated above her chair, her energy form flickering nervously. "General Choi, the Federation owes humanity a great debt. You saved us all." "We did what you could not," Choi replied simply. "We fought." Ambassador Veltar shifted uncomfortably. "Yes. Well, now that the crisis has passed, we expect all human military units to stand down immediately. The peace accords must be restored." Choi laughed, a sound that made several aliens flinch. "You still do not understand. There is no going back. You cannot ask us to save you and then pretend we are not what we are. But the violence must be contained," insisted Dr. Rin. "We have seen what humans do when they fight. It is terrifying." "Yes, it is terrifying," Choi agreed. "Do you know why we won? Because we were willing to do things you could never imagine. We turned our own space stations into weapons. We sent our children to fight. We died gladly if it meant killing one more enemy." The collective speaker form rustled with distress. "That is exactly why humans must not be allowed to fight. Your methods are barbaric. Our methods work." Choi stepped forward, and several aliens backed away. "While you were calculating optimal attack patterns, we were ramming ships into their motherships. While you were trying to preserve your forces, we were sacrificing everything to win." Elder Nyx pulsed brighter. "But now the threat is gone. Surely you can return to peaceful ways." The Devourers are not gone. They retreated to the galactic rim, but they will be back. And there will be other threats. The galaxy is not the safe place you pretended it was. Ambassador Keck spoke up, his golden eyes worried. "What do you want from us?" "Recognition. The Federation needs to accept that sometimes violence is necessary. You need protectors who are willing to do terrible things so you can sleep safely." "And if we refuse?" asked Veltar. Choi smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "Then the next time something like the Devourers shows up, you can try to negotiate with them. See how well that works." The hall fell silent. Everyone understood the new reality. Humanity had proven they were the most effective warriors in the galaxy, but they were also the most frightening. The Federation needed them, but they were terrified of them. Dr. Rin spoke quietly. "What would you propose?" "A new organization. The Terran Defense Corps. Humans will be responsible for protecting Federation space from external threats. We will train your people in what you call our barbaric methods. In return, you give us the resources and authority we need to do the job properly." "And if we disagree with your methods?" asked Elder Nyx. "Then you can try to stop us." Choi's voice was calm, but the threat was clear. "But remember, you spent 50 years trying to make us peaceful. It did not work. We are still the same species that conquered our entire planet through constant warfare. The negotiations took 6 hours. In the end, the Federation agreed to everything Choi demanded. They had no choice. The alternatives were too frightening to consider." 2 weeks later, Captain Park Yun-soo stood in the new TDC headquarters on Luna. watching human instructors teach Zephyrian cadets how to fight dirty. The aliens were terrible at it, but they were trying. "It is strange," said Lieutenant Kim Da-yoon, joining him at the observation window. 6 months ago, they would not let us carry weapons. Now, they want us to teach them how to kill. "Fear changes everything," Park replied. They saw what happened when they had no one willing to fight for them. Commander Lee Hyun entered the room, carrying orders for the new Deep Space Patrol missions. "The Federation Council wants us to establish defense stations at the Galactic Rim. They are worried the Devourers might return." "Good. Let them worry. Worried leaders make better decisions than confident ones." That evening in her private office, General Choi updated humanity's file in the Federation database. The old warning was still there, written by Elder Nix 50 years ago. "Never let humans fight." But now there was a new entry, written in the UAE, aftermath of the war that saved the galaxy. "Unless you need them to win." Choi smiled as she added one more line. "The galaxy has learned that peace requires guardians willing to do violence. Humanity will be those guardians, whether the galaxy likes it or not." Outside her window, human warships patrolled the space lanes, protecting alien merchants and civilian transports. The Federation species slept safely in their beds, guarded by the very monsters they had tried to cage. The irony was perfect. In trying to eliminate human violence, the Federation had only hidden it. When the real test came, that violence had saved them all. Now they lived in a new reality. The galaxy was safer than it had ever been, protected by humanity's capacity for terrible, necessary violence. The Federation had their peace, but it came with a price they were only beginning to understand. The monsters were no longer caged. They were standing guard at the gates, and they would never be put back in their cage again. The galaxy would have to learn to live with that truth.